lay down and close my eyes and let the sinus pressure drift away after I take one of these supposedly non-drowsy sinus pills. That's a damn joke. I take one and no matter what, I'm loopy. The shit works though. I always feel better after taking them. We're in a holding pattern here yet again for the moment. I'm hoping I can check in after a day or two and happily report that we have people starting to feel better. The weather has moved off to fuck someone else over. Ryan has built more hydro stations, and Ollie impregnated a few of our cows. I should say that Ollie has successfully encouraged our male cows to impregnate our female cows. That last bit could be taken in a really dark and weird way. Good news would be an awesome change of pace. January 31st. We almost lost it all this morning. All of it. Every last person here could have died, and it's only by some profoundly good graces we still have as many people living here as we do. This is my nightmare. My hands are shaking bad. Late in the night last night, the sickness that had incapacitated 13 of our residents became fatal for someone. We don't know who died first. We haven't pieced that together yet, but we know who's dead now. Looking at the bright side, our winter food problems just became much more manageable. God, I'm an asshole. I was woken up by the sounds of gunshots this morning just as the sun was turning the sky that faint shade of dawn blue. Just enough light so you know the day's coming, but still dark enough to know that it isn't quite morning yet. I sat up immediately with the Kimber from under my pillow and grabbed the walkie. I asked what was happening. Pulled my pants on and my shirt on while I waited for an answer, and over the radio I heard Angela's voice. Something happened inside the clinic. Some of them died, and now they're out. They're moving around towards the dorms. We need help quick. Undead inside the walls again, moving about as they wished. It was like a fucking bad dream. I had an immediate flashback to the night I spent on the roof of admissions, and the afternoon in the classroom building where I shot round after round into the mob of undead here trying to scrape out a safe place to live in this fucked up world. It seems I came a little full circle this morning. I finished dressing as I heard more and more folks wake up to the single gunshot and join the radio traffic. The factory and MGR joined in asking if we were okay, and collectively we asked them to clear the air and let us figure out what we had on our hands. I had the tactical guys get their military comms online, and we got off the wideband radios. We made a quick plan, and via the various comms gear, we got our head count on the people who were not put into quarantine in the clinic. Everyone was accounted for, and the only variables were the folks from the clinic. We had no radio traffic from them, which meant Roger's walkie was never used. We're still putting together what went down in there, and it's hard. Tearing up. At the moment, our plan was to open windows in the buildings we were in and fire using rifles at anything on foot that didn't respond to verbal commands. At least I would risk that way. I saw nothing from my bedroom window. I would have thought something would have crossed in front of Hall E or the cafeteria where my line of sight is, but nope. Angela, over in Hall A, which is right next to the old admin building the clinic is in, shot 4 times, killing 4 of our own. Well, to be fair, she wasn't killing them. She was putting their reanimated bodies to rest. From Hall B, Blake took a single shot with his Enfield, putting someone else down. And after that, we saw no one and nothing from our windows. From there, we formed into small teams that were dorm-based, and we moved out and into the campus to scour every inch for the remaining undead or survivors. Every person had to be accounted for. I needed eye contact and an "I'm fine" or a dead body. From Hall E, I formed up with Caleb and Abby. Our plan was to sweep the campus in a rough circle shape so we weren't converging and firing on the same spaces. The last thing we wanted was to meet in the middle and be firing at each other. We swung south toward the clinic itself. Hall A put no team out because there just weren't enough bodies. We crossed in front of them and immediately saw George clawing at the door that led to the apartment he shared with Alex. Angela had no window or angle to see him to shoot him, and for whatever reason he wasn't interested in the noise she was making. Curious that he went directly to the door his loved one was behind. He'd been bitten 3 or 4 times in the chest and neck, and he was covered with fresh, sticky blood. He hadn't been dead for long. When we rounded the corner, I was the one facing him, and once I was sure he was dead, for the whites of their eyes, as the old saying goes, I put the red dot on his face and sent him back to oblivion where he belonged. I hope these people are getting rest wherever they are. Shooting him was not pleasant for me in the least. All I could think about was how Alex would feel. We moved down the road to the clinic, and I prepared for the worst. We swung around the building to the entrance that I went in through back when I was clearing the building originally. It was the door facing the admissions building near the bridge and campus exit. The door was ajar, and after making a quick plan, we breached our own fucking clinic. I'm not sure how much detail I can even go into here. It was fucking carnage inside. Blood and gore all over, glistening in the light of the growing dawn. My friends, my people, death everywhere. I hollered out for anyone alive to reply, and from the upstairs we heard a woman yell that she was in an office. The same office Abby holed herself up in that day. Funny how things come full circle. In the open clinic area, on one of the beds, was Jenna. Jenna was hooked up to an IV bag that Roger must have gotten on her. She sat up when we came into the room and got off the bed, dragging her IV hanger behind her, slowly opening and closing her mouth, her face twisting into that same silent rage I've seen so fucking much. I liked Jenna. She helped me so much, and she was a real asset for us here. I didn't have the heart to physically hit her in the head, so I simply lined up that red dot one more time and sent the back of her head all over the bed she died on. She'd been bitten several times. I hate my life sometimes, a lot. Here's a list of the confirmed dead, all from inside the clinic. Our locked doors and reinforced windows held all across campus, protecting everyone that stayed inside, thankfully. Julie, Martin's wife, deceased. George, Alex's partner, husband, deceased. Andrea, Lindsay's daughter, age 6, deceased. Jeffrey Daniel Langston, not quite 1 year old, deceased. Doc Lindsay, deceased. Veronica, of no last name, age 5, deceased. Diane, deceased. Sergeant Roger Halliday, deceased. Kyle Fishman, deceased. I could cry. I will cry, a lot. The heartbreak here right now is motherfucking epic. Everyone has been touched by this, and it will take a long time to shake off the after effects of the deaths of so many loved ones. Things we could have done differently, finger-pointing, all that jazz, I'm sure, is not far off. Anger and rage will be right after that, and we need to keep emotions in check as best as possible. Michelle is soothing nerves as best she can, and Kevin is putting everyone straight to task with Fitz. If people are busy, they're less likely to shut down or freak out. In the upstairs office, we found Becky, Shelby, Ryan, and Chester. They're the lone survivors of the carnage in the clinic. Right now, they're in Joel's care in Hall D's kitchen, and Ethan will be returning from MGR tomorrow morning to assist. We're going to lose them too if we don't get some serious fluids into them. They're fading fast, and we're dangerously low on IV bags. We can't get fluids into them fast enough. They can't keep them down when they drink. I know there was an ambulance on the side of the road between here and Westfield. It's off the road, in fact, down an embankment on a side road. I saw it when I was walking around on the other side with Gilbert. With any luck, the ambulance will have enough good IV bags to get us through the sickness here, and buy us enough time to formulate a serious plan on how to get more medical supplies for the future. I talked to Joel about whether or not we could make our own IV bags, and they looked at me like I'd grown a third eye. We have no sterile environments to make any in, and without very specific raw materials, we would essentially be making germ and bacteria bags for direct injection. We'd kill people faster by giving them homemade IVs. I figured it was worth asking. No stone left unturned. We're leaving first thing in the morning to check on that ambulance. The weather's been clear for a day now, and the roads are probably good enough. We're going in just the 2 Humvees as soon as Ethan gets back here from MGR to beef up our numbers. I'm hoping we find the ambulance with no trouble, and it's still filled with usable medical supplies. hope. We could seriously use a huge bucket of hope right now. Running on fumes at the moment and could use it. I'm very much out of sorts right now. This is one of those things that's going to stick with me. Adrian. February 2012. February 1st. Do you remember when I stashed an oh shit bag halfway between here and Westfield? Back when I was doing my recon work when Sean was still alive? Mr. Journal, we were right near there earlier today when we left to scour for my ambulance. Our team heading out today was myself, Kevin, Fitz, Abby, Hector, and James. Hector and James really wanted to go to get outside the wall, and the rest are pretty self-explanatory. We'd been leaving the Westfield soldiers behind more often because they're less used to breaching operations and house clears, and because they've gotten into a great rhythm with the security at the school. Not to mention, Hector's been tapped for vehicle maintenance, and James has been in the woods hunting. This was their opportunity for a change of pace. With 3 souls in each vehicle, all heavily armed and pretty experienced, we felt good. Kevin also mounted M203s on his and Fitz's M4s, so we had some serious squad support weaponry if need be. The roads heading over to that neck of the woods were decent, a little slippery, but not bad. The ambulance was right there on the side of the road, buried under the entire winter's accumulation of snow. The tree cover on that spot was heavy as well, so there was little to no melting. Also, like a collective bunch of fucking bosses, not one of us remembered to bring a snow shovel. All we had were entrenching tools from the Humvees.
Well done.
We parked in the road, which of course hadn't been plowed at all the entire winter. No surprise, seeing as the DOT hasn't been in operation of late. We had to rotate out the shoveling duties due to how hard it was to chip out the icy layers and thickly packed snow. It was shit work. We were grunting and groaning to the nth degree, making a ton of noise, and we managed to draw in 2 zombies in the 7 hours we were there. I happened to be pulling security both times the walkers came at us. Both came from the direction away from the main road, and they were struggling to trudge through the snow to get to us. I think it's funny that the undead always use roads and streets to move. You'd think, as mindless creatures, they'd simply move in a straight line towards noise, ignoring the constructs of human society. But no, they always seem to stick to the roads. Residual memory? Effects of the evil powering them? At any rate, I watched as the 2 male zombies shuffled their way towards us, knee-deep in thick, crusty snow. They fell over at least 3 or 4 times as they came up the road. At one point, Abby was standing next to me watching, and she shook her head sadly and walked back down the embankment to the ambulance. It really was sad and awkward and whatnot. I finally put rounds through their heads when they got about 30 yards away. It made no sense to risk them getting any closer, even if it would have taken them 10 minutes to get to us. The good news out of the shooting of the zombies was that they were the drivers from the ambulance. They had more medical gear on them, as well as the remainder of the keys to the compartments in the rear of the ambulance that were still sealed. We did, of course, have to shoot a patient that was long dead and strapped into the back of the ambulance, though. The guy had a bite wound on his arm, I believe, and I guess he turned on them, caused a ruckus, then caused the crash that killed the 2 EMTs. I don't know why trying to piece together how people died is something I think about so much. Overactive imagination. We did manage to salvage a lot of medical supplies from the mostly tipped-over van. Our largest need was met only sparingly. We desperately needed IV bags to get fluids into the bodies of our 6 survivors, and in the ambulance we found only 6 bags. Fortunately, Ethan said the bags were still good, so that's something. Those bags will get us through a couple of days as we essentially force-feed fluids right into their bloodstreams. Better than nothing. We got everything out of the ambulance, we stopped at the house I stored my shotgun and cig at and retrieved them. Need some tender love and care to get rid of some rust, but they'll work fine with some attention. It was nice to see the cig again. On our return, we got the supplies to Ethan and Joel, and they did what they could to tend to our sick. By the time we returned, the clinic had been cleaned out. I could see the smoke rising from the back of campus from the fresh flames on the pyre. The bodies had been moved. Ugly work, I imagine. bastion is on its end, on tilt right now. Martin lost his wife of 14 years. 14 fucking years. He's been with his son, lost to his emotions since everything happened. Lindsay lost her 6-year-old daughter. I don't need to explain to you what that would do to a mother. She's living right next to Angela and Amanda in Hall A right now, instead of the farm on Jones Road, so she has company and is surrounded by support. I bet Doug is weeping somewhere. Jeanette lost her baby boy. She's also with Amanda and Angela. The Westfield people as a whole are hurt very much by the loss of the child that was named after the man that helped to lead them. That baby was a symbol, and now he's gone. Everyone misses Doc Lindsay. I miss little Veronica. She was a bubbly little girl that died far before her time was due. She had no family we could find, no name, and she left the world just as anonymously as her family did. The only thing that marks her life now are the mentions of her in this fucking journal. Pathetic. Inadequate in every way. Diane, the woman we believe brought all this upon us, is also dead. I wonder if this is karma for having shot at us when we arrived to try and rescue them. I wonder if this is karma for us too. I suppose this is all moot. Roger's dead. He was such a good guy too. One of the nation's most highly trained military men killed in his sleep, we think, by someone who died under his care. We really needed him here, and it's clear now how close Kevin's group really was. As a team, they survived some hellish circumstances and traveled an awfully long way to get here. They're all in mourning over his loss. I don't think I need to explain how badly Kevin is missing his buddy Kyle. Kyle was Kevin's driver on their last stop in Jerusalem, and he was an excellent team member before that, and since then. Alex has shut himself away trying to get over the loss of George, his boyfriend, his husband. Michelle has been trying to talk to him to get him to come out and be with the rest of us, but he can't sustain it. 10 or 15 minutes of attempted socialization, and he overloads with emotion, falls apart, and leaves. He just can't take it. He and George had been together for years, all of them happy, as I understand it. Michelle shut the school down for a few days to let everyone digest the past couple days' events. Ollie has rolled down the amount of labor he's asking of the younger people as they struggle to cope with the sudden large-scale loss of life. We're an emotional wreck right now, myself included. The less I think about what just happened, the better off I am. Strangely enough, I don't feel like I failed this time. So many of our bad incidents have felt to me like they were my fault, but I really feel like this time we made good decisions. If anything, I feel like our medical people underestimated the seriousness of the sickness that we're dealing with. I'm not laying the blame here, Mr. Journal. Our medical people are top-notch, but we're not in a real hospital with full diagnostic equipment and a real lab to run real tests. It's a lot of educated guesswork. Things like this are going to happen, no matter how many precautions we take, and no matter how good we are as people. Go from here. We need more IV bags. We also need more medicine. We also know that there are no good places to find those things in town or in Westfield. Furthermore, there are no good places to find these things in any of the small towns around here. We've already cannibalized the pharmacies and the local clinics. Our last resort is the city. The same city Danielle and Diane told us were overrun with a mountain of the dead. Discussions about what that means will be tomorrow morning. Adrian. February 2nd. After conferring this morning, we decided we were going into the southern fringe of the city early tomorrow. We're going to the factory first to drop off some supplies they need, and then we're heading south, down and around the city through the suburbs. Once we get a fair distance south, we're cutting across the edge of the city and then heading north to a moderately industrial section of town near the airport. There's a fairly large pharmacy there, as well as a small medical supplies business in an industrial park just off the airport perimeter road. There aren't a ton of houses there either.